Welcome back to the final day of the 12 Days of Christmas, hosted by Rustic and Lace DIY and Molly Cole Creations. I'm starting with this round white globe, a clear container I'm repurposing, and a cylinder box from Dollar Tree that I used in another project. I cut about a third of the cylinder box off. Now I'm using this small plate to make a pattern to trace around on this foam board. Once I've cut out the circle, I also cut a smaller circle in the center so that it will sit on top of the globe. As you can probably tell, this is going to be a snowman hat. I'm going to give both pieces a couple of coats of Waverly ink chalk paint. Once both pieces have dried, I'm going to hot glue the top to the brim of the hat. Then I will continue to do some touch-up paint. I used my silhouette to cut out some eyes and a mouth for my snowman, but you could use stickers that you painted, or you could just cut circles out of Dollar Tree vinyl. I did print out a pattern for a carrot nose that I cut out of orange vinyl. Every snowman needs a scarf, so I used this scarf I found at a thrift store, and I cut it so that I could rip it and it would fray the edges. I used part of it for a scarf and part of it for a band around his hat. And now we can put him together and see what he looks like. Now I promised you a 2-for-1, so we're going to take this globe, turn it around, and create a whole different character. This clear bucket looked like a soldier hat to me. So we're going to give it a couple of coats of Waverly and Crimson. And using that same black piece of foam board, I cut a brim for the soldier's hat and gave it a couple of coats of ink. Once it dried, I hot glued it to the handle of the bucket. And now I'm adding some eyes and a mustache with vinyl. To make his hat look a little bit more soldier-like, I'm using some of these sticker gems from Dollar Tree. The cutest little toy soldier. And here's what they look like all lit up at night. This is a frame I found at a thrift store and a piece of music that I found in an old children's music book. I'm tracing around the glass to get the perfect fit for the frame. I found this stamp at the Target dollar spot, and I'm going to use my ink pad, ink it up, and stamp on the front of the music. Once that's completely dry, I'm going to add it back into my frame. This has such a classic look, so I'm just going to add a simple red velvet bow to the top. This could be hung, used on an easel, or even hung on a Christmas tree. At a thrift store for $5 and knew right away what I wanted to do with it. I used some foam, greenery, and red berries, all from Dollar Tree, to dress it up. I cut a few pieces of greenery and placed them into the foam, and then used the larger pieces to fill it in so that it hung down and looked more natural. I then added a small red velvet bow as well as some pine cones. This budget-friendly planter makes my laundry room a bit more festive for under $10. I was inspired by this one on Pinterest by Liz Marie Galvin. As you can imagine, it's very difficult to find sleds of any kind in Louisiana where I live, but I did find this little snowman sled and thought that it would have to fit the bill. First, I removed the screws so that I could paint both pieces, but I'm also going to be adding some pieces as I go. I'm going to give it one coat of Waverly ink. That seemed to do the trick, even to cover all of that colorful artwork. When the black paint was dry, I did give it a coat of clear spray paint to seal it. I wanted the sled to stand a little bit higher than what it does, so I added some Dollar Tree tumbling tower blocks in between the snowman part and the sled part. I sealed the black paint so that I could distress it later and wouldn't have all those other colors coming through. Now I am giving it a coat of white Waverly paint, just a messy coat because we are going to distress this again later. Now that that paint is dry, I'm going to take my finger sander and I'm going to just sand around the edges of the snowman and the sled. I'm using hot glue to attach the tumbling tower blocks right where the screws went. To further distress it, I'm dry brushing on Mineral Paint by Waverly. While an antique sled would certainly be better, I think this one is fine. It does give it a more wintry look with the snowman. Thanks so much for joining me for the 12 Days of Christmas, and thanks again to Brenda and Amanda for hosting this wonderful playlist. You can find a link to their channels and the playlist listed in the description box below. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to share the chic. Bye now.